I think I'm live. Hi guys. Go ahead and let me know in the chat when you guys can hear me. We are going to be exploring the new Luna software tonight. We're not going to be getting too technical. I'm going to try to stay as simple as possible. I want to kind of like explore the site, explore a little bit about the program, and then show you guys how to input your birth information, how to run, okay, good, this sounds good, how to run your chart, how to pull up a bi-wheel, to check transits, and a couple of the features that I love this software for, like the reasons why I love this software. So you guys probably know that I have an affiliate partnership with the Luna Astrology software. I actually reached out to them on my own. I've never partnered with anything before. I get weird emails all the time from random companies or scams. I can never really tell. But I never replied to them because nothing ever really vibes with me. But I was scrolling through Instagram one day and I saw just like a sponsored post for this astrology software. And you guys, many of you are probably Patreon members because we are going to be also doing a Patreon giveaway here tonight where I'm going to give away a free galactic esoteric astrology reading and some other things, a couple little paintings and some t-shirts that Eddie made too. So we're going to do that later. But what was I saying? Okay. So one day I was scrolling through Instagram, like I tend to do more often than I should be. And I seen a sponsored post for the software. And those of you who are Patreon members, you know, on every Patreon post, I link places for you to get your chart. None of which are perfect. You know, there's Time Passages, which is an app many of us use. But you can only run one chart. You can't run anybody else's chart without paying $1 for each chart. You also, they have a like pro version where you could pay, I forget how much it is, but they don't have extra points. They don't have asteroids. It's a good free app to have on your phone to check your chart against and like to look and see where stuff is in the sky, but it's not really good for exploring astrology. There's astro.com, which is okay. It has pros and cons. I like that it's really the only place where you can get the entire asteroid list. I have like 3 different astrology softwares. I might show some of them here tonight. None of them I really like. I have many reasons why I don't like any of them, all really. And I use all of them because not a single one does all of the things. And astro.com is really the only place where you can get all of the asteroids. Apparently you can put them all into Solar Fire somehow, but Solar Fire, the program that I use in all my videos, is so complicated. Like, oh my God. I have been working with this program for, I don't know, a couple of years now, and I still feel like I have no idea what I'm doing. It's so complicated. Even to do the basic things, the way to go about it is very technical. And like I said, I've worked with many different astrology softwares in the past. I have on this computer alone, I have Solar Fire, I have their Solar Writer program, and I have Genesis 5, and also a whole asteroid program. And none of them, even if I combine them all together, have what I'm really looking for, right? But they all have bits and pieces. For free, for you guys, when you guys are like not expensive, all those softwares cost like $300, $400. Like they're very expensive programs. Very expensive in my opinion, especially if you're just starting out, and especially if you're not planning on doing readings and making money, and you're not like investing into your career, and you just want to understand your chart better. It's just not practical really to spend that much. So I always kind of steer you guys in the direction of Time Passages, which is pretty much free if you're kind of just using it for yourself. But like I said, it doesn't have any asteroids. Or astro.com, which has all the asteroids, but you can only put a certain amount of points in at a time. You can only do 10 points at a time. You can't have them like all up to really see how they're transiting. You have to kind of decide what you want and go through this entire list of thousands and thousands and thousands of asteroids, many of which are named random numbers or named after astronomers, random names. Like a lot of them aren't really astrologically significant, and it's really cumbersome to use and hard to read. And it does not animate. It does not make it so you can click forward. So you know how during my monthly lives where I start on the first of the month and I click all the way through each day? No problem. None of the programs that are remotely affordable do that, but Luna does. And so that was the first thing that caught my eye. The first thing that caught my eye was the price, that it is only $5 a month or $36 a year. And with the affiliate link that I now have, because I reached out to them and kind of made them make an affiliate program. They didn't have one when I first reached out to them. But with that, it's only $4.50 a month or $32 a year for the first year. And then after that, it does go up like 50 cents or whatever. So the first thing that caught my eye was the price. I was like, this is perfect for my patrons. I'm also working on making a course to teach you guys how to, run charts, how to locate fixed stars, how to put the asteroids in, like how to kind of do galactic esoteric astrology. Everybody keeps asking me, and I'm going to do it, I promise, at some point. But I haven't, what am I going to say? Oh, by the way, you also have to buy this $400 software. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to do it. It's just not practical. So the first thing I noticed was the price, $5. I was like, okay, we can do $5, right? And then in that little ad, they were talking about all of the extra points that they offer. And so I reached out to them and I was like, what extra points do you have? And they have this very long asteroid list. We'll look here in a second. And I got very excited. So I was like, do you have any, you guys know me, right? If I like what you're about, I probably won't be able to shut up about you for a while. And I'm going to talk all about it in my stories. And everybody's going to know that you're cool by the time I'm done. You know what I mean? So I was like, listen, I'm already going to link this stuff to my Patreon posts because this is ideal for what everybody's looking for, really. Do you by any chance have an affiliate partnership program? And they're like, oh, you know what? We are working on doing that. And then they got it together and now here we are. And I know many of you have already, signed up with this program and started working with it. And yeah, so we're just going to kind of dive in. I made some slides and then we're going to go explore the website, and I'm going to be doing more videos in the future. So while this video is going to be real basic, how to run a chart, how to pull a bi-wheel, how to select certain things, how to, go through the little, he has a graphic where he breaks down all of the modalities and whatnot, how to look up the transits. I'll do ones in the future on how to do more technical things, but we'll get in there. By the time I'm done here, you guys are going to be able to run and read your natal chart against any transits. All right, so share my screen. So I'm realizing that I forgot to get my charger, and my phone only has 20%. Hold on, let me turn everything else off on here, because once I leave here, I won't have the chat in front of me when my phone dies, and it is gonna die. Okay. All right, so let's go here because I did make some slides with some of the information that they gave me. Another thing that I noticed right away was how beautiful the charts are. Astro.com's charts, by the time I'm done with this video, none of these other astrology programs are ever going to want to work with me. Oh my God. So Astro.com hurts my brain to read the charts. They look like they were made in like Windows, whatever it is we were using in 1998. Was it Windows 98? I think that's probably what it's called. It's hard to read. I don't like it. It does not sit well with my Libra placements. These charts are beautiful, and they have two different options. They have like the night Luna mode, which is of course the one I use, and then they have the daytime mode too for that balance. And yeah, so let's just go ahead and dive it in. And another really great thing about this is that it is a cloud program. So these softwares that I have on my computer are so big, and there's all these files and all this like technical freaking stuff that I do not understand, and I have actually a lot of issues with both programs. I have a stellarium that's supposed to exist in my solar fire and never has, and every time I reach out to them for anything, they don't reply. Usually, actually, they don't reply, but sometimes they will reply, and their answers are usually uninstall, reinstall, and then they tell you how to do this, and you're going through all these different files, and I'm not made for this, okay? I'm not made for this. I do not have a computer degree. It's very highly technical. So this is a cloud program. It doesn't take up any memory on your device. You use it through the browser, or there's a way to make it an app on your phone. We'll get there later. Through widgets, which I don't really know what a widget is. I kind of just learned. I don't know. Apparently there's widgets and you can add them to your phone, and they're like little kind of app things. I don't know. I did it by following along with their very simple instructions on their YouTube. We'll look at their YouTube in a second. But it's the same program on both your phone and your computer. So a lot of these apps, you can't use on your computer. So if you want to do readings or you want to make videos, you know what I mean? You're kind of limited to what you can do. But this is the same on both platforms, whether it's your phone or your computer or your tablet. It's the same sort of program. One price, no matter where you're using it. It's really easy to use. So Luna's form and function work together, helping you navigate new territory with ease. Like you just click on things intuitively and stuff pops up, and it's very simply based. And while other astrology softwares do not have any sort of like interpretation along with the data, this actually does, and it gives you a sort of starting point when it comes to interpreting your chart. It's super simple, clean, easy to use, which is something that I really like. And as somebody who's struggled trying to, one, teach themselves astrology because I taught myself everything that I know, and two, try to do it on a budget because I am also legitimately broke, and three, trying to do it when I'm not technologically savvy. I wish this program existed when I started. And honestly, I am in the process of getting them a list of the points that I use that they don't have yet. The Galactic Center, the Super Galactic Center, Atlantis, Hecate. They have a lot of asteroids, but they don't have all of them. They are working on getting all of them. They want to have just as many as Astro.com. But I'm working on getting them a list of the ones that I use before I launch this course, and I think they're going to work with me on that. So once that happens, honestly, I'm gone. I'm leaving. I'm leaving Solar Fire. It's so hard. It's so complicated. Ugh, I hate it. Okay. Anyway, it's in the cloud. So it doesn't exist on your computer. You're using it on the cloud. I don't think anybody really understands what the cloud is, but I don't know. Somewhere on a server. I don't really know, but all I know is it doesn't take up any memory on your device, which is really rad. And you can use it on, I would assume, certain other computers. So when I first bought my first astrology software, I couldn't even use it because I had a very cheap computer and it was like a Chromebook. I guess it wasn't like a real laptop. I don't know. I don't know about computers. Squirty, stop scratching. Can you lay down? Thank you. So I had like a Chromebook, right? To me, it was new and fancy because I just bought it. But apparently it was not very good and I couldn't put the software on it. So even if you have, a tablet or something that doesn't have a lot of, I don't know, what is it that makes computers work? RAM, right? RAM or memory. You can still use this. And that is a major plus in my book. The charts are really pretty. The owner of this company, it's ran by a couple, both of which are astrologers. His name is Kevin. I can't remember what her name is, but we will go and look over when we see their little bio or whatever. His mentor, his astrological mentor, and his business partner. It's 4 people, all of which are astrologers. There's lots of Virgo placements throughout the company, so you can see the attention to detail. Lots of Libra placements. You can see the aesthetic beauty, the balance, the harmony, and Sag too. The same placements as me, but mixed. Like we have the same big 3, but mixed. And you can see that this company is also rooted in like a strong spiritual philosophy, which I also really love, but we'll get there here in a second. It's beautiful, right? They're super clickable. You can click on things, you can isolate things. It's super rad. And on your phone or a touchscreen, I have a touchscreen computer, but it's broken, so I can't touch it anymore. Actually, I can't even shake it or it will glitch. And I'm afraid to use my new computer because it's new and I understand this one. But if I could, in theory, I could zoom in here on my computer too, and you guys can on your phone. The animated feature is the best, especially when you have your natal chart on the inside and then you put a bi-wheel of the transits and you animate those, and you can see how the transits are affecting your chart over a significant period. There's also other sort of charts that you can run, but we're going to get into that kind of stuff in a future video because this is more like advanced techniques. Okay. This is one of my favorite parts, is the fact that they actually answer their emails and their DMs and are real people on the other end of it who are actually astrologers. While most astrology software is made by astrologers, my mentor Rick Levine, he made Kepler software. Was it Kepler? I think it was Kepler. And Stephanie Johnson has a lot to do with the Esoteric Technologies software, which is Solar Fire or Astro Gold for a Mac. It seems more like it's the software's this, which is really what they kind of, part of their mission is like modernizing this archaic form of software. So astrology software is actually very new. Most astrology was done in the past through ephemerises or actual calculations. Astrology software is something very new, and it has been very rudimentary. It's been very techy. Like it was made more by a sort of very left brain dynamic as opposed to the more intuitively led right brain that you would see an astrologer more identify with as opposed to a computer engineer, which is actually what Rick did before he became an astrologer. He was a computer programmer. So it was kind of like where he originated from. And you can see a lot of these people, that's probably where they were. They were probably in the tech field, and then got into the esoteric and were like, oh, I can make an astrology software. And then they did. I think it seems more like the love of astrology sparked the idea of making it. You know what I mean? Hi, Sam. She says, I think it's the cleanest, most easiest and visually appealing layout I've seen yet, for sure. Absolutely. And I have worked with so many. And, I know you can resonate with this, Sam, is like, I'm super neurodivergent, okay? I get very distracted, very overwhelmed with too many things, you know what I mean? And this program, it cuts out a lot of that, but it still gives you the opportunity to do all of the things you really need to do to dive into your chart. Even things that I don't even use in my own practice. Okay, so the make contact. You can reach out to this company. It says here, Luna is a small business created by astrology lovers for astrology lovers. We invite our customers to send featured suggestions along with support questions. Consult the knowledge base and how-to videos located in the app and get the most out of our Luna experience. So they're saying like they have YouTube videos that are how-tos. They have like frequently asked questions on their website. But like if there's something you're trying to do, like right now, I have an issue with my solar writer program. I had a client and I was running the chart for her daughter in this program, and her midheaven changed significantly by like 15, by a whole sign. And all of the birth data is completely right. Everything is completely right. I went and ran it in a million other softwares just to make sure that what I had before was right. But in this one software, it shifts and there's no rhyme or reason to it. And it's only with this one client. I've ran other clients' charts in there and they're fine. And I've reached out to the company and they just don't answer me. But in theory, Luna would. So if you have any questions that are very technical and you can't find answers to them on the site or in their YouTube, you can reach out to them. And they're real people and they will answer. You can customize and stylize it with different dwarf planets or asteroids. The nodes, they have all the different Lilith configurations, and then you can tweak the size of the glyphs and the color and whatnot. And they have a huge ephemeris. I never really use ephemerises, but I'll show you guys how. They have a lot of stuff I don't use. Okay, so the code, if you guys want to get it, is Cosmic, but there's also a direct link down below. We kind of already went over all this. I'm just going to go over to their website. Okay, so when you go over to their website, this is what you're going to see first. And before we log in and I run your guys' charts, so you guys can go ahead and write your birth data in the chat. I'm going to go in order, so whoever's quickest on the draw is going to go first. I'm going to run some charts and show you guys how to do this. And I can't have a chart in front of me without interpreting it in some way, so you'll get something. So let's explore some of the features, right? We talked about some of these already because I guess that's just how I roll. On the mobile screens, unlimited charts. So they're not going, your library is not going to fill up. They also have options for custom like tagging and putting them in certain categories. Maybe you guys are super organized. Maybe your Virgo placements like to organize and they do not just have anxiety like mine, but I will show you. Okay, so to be fair, this software saves every single chart that you've ever made, and there's really sure there's a way to organize it, but I don't know how. I don't organize my charts, but in theory you can. But look at this is like one of my softwares. This one has a lot of asteroids too. This is the Janus or whatever. I hate this thing for a multitude of reasons. I'm not going to list them all now, but it's like all these charts and everything stays and there's no rhyme or reason to it. Even when you run like transits, like just random days, every single transit chart, it saves everything. And I have to go in and like delete them en masse. This one gives you the option if you want to save the chart, and then you can also sort of like put them in categories: family, friends, clients, famous people. They also have a huge database of famous people's charts. I am not plugged in enough to mainstream society to really use famous people's charts too much in my own practice because I don't really know enough about them. I usually ask people that I meet in my real life that I find fascinating for whatever reason what their birth data is. And then I use them. So I have people I really know's charts. And then certain people, like the people I vibe with, like Bob Dylan, I know his chart very well, David Bowie, things like that. But they have a huge database, which really comes in handy, and I love the way they have it broken down. We'll look there in a second. The biwheels, which is where you have your natal chart on the inside and the transits on the outside so that you can compare them. For those of you who have had sessions with me in the past, this is how we start the session, looking at our transits. It can also run synastry charts, which compares two people's charts together. So like in a relationship, like a partnership, and it compares the sort of dynamics between the two people's charts. There's two different ways to look at a relationship dynamic through astrology. A synastry chart is one of them, and we'll do a video on that in the future. We're not going to run synastry charts here tonight, but we are going to run some biwheels. And I'll do a video in the future on composite charts as well. A composite chart is another way to look at a relationship. What a composite chart is they take two charts. So it would be my chart and Eddie's chart. And it's a combination of our two charts where the placements are the midpoint between our two planets. So where the sun would be in a composite chart would be the midpoint between my sun and his sun, and the same for every other planet. And so it's kind of a chart for the relationship. And this software runs it and many others don't. The synastry chart takes your chart and his chart and compares the aspects together, like your sun is squaring his Venus or whatever, You can write notes, organize, and share chart notes. This is really cool. I haven't really started using this. I did start when I first made my account with a couple of notes on some asteroids that I had noticed in my chart. But this really comes in handy because it's like notes every time you notice something about your Saturn or this asteroid here or that, or a moon affected something. You can put these notes in here, and then they're always there every time you pull up your chart when it's like a new moon, a full moon, one of my videos, some shit going on, you want to see what's happening in the sky type of a thing. This is also really rad. You can print, download, and email like straight to your clients or to yourself your chart and these PDFs that are all broken up with like the symbols, the glyphs, and everything. It's super rad. I don't know what happens when you click this see more. I don't think I've done that before. I guess it's just talking about all of these things. And here's a link to one of their videos over here on their YouTube channel where they have how to do all these different things, how to run all these different charts, biwheels, the ephemeris, which is like more advanced, but we are going to cover the biwheels. This is how a very simple 3-minute long video on how to put this in app mode on your phone. So it's super easy to pop up if you don't want to use the browser, how to set up your settings, how to work with the infographic, which was the word I was looking for earlier that I could not find. Yeah, their website is cool. This is the only video I've watched so far, but I'm definitely going to come and explore these other ones, especially before we do some of these videos on, casting some of these other charts and whatnot. Okay, so you can see, you can explore, and they have lots of different options. All right, so let's go back here. The chart animation is one of the coolest things. We're going to get there in a second. I don't know. Being able to zoom in. The different color schemes, the solar and lunar themes. Being able to customize your home location for your transits. Most apps can do that. They have 9 different house systems, so whether that's Placidus, and maybe we'll do a video in the future on the differences between the house systems. I learned with whole sign. It's the easiest to learn with. There's nobody can, in my opinion, I have not seen a good enough argument for any of the house calculation systems. So I referenced my chart in many, and you can play around with 9 different house systems here, whether it's Placidus or whole sign or equal sign or Koch. They have several. They also have 9 different zodiacs. So they have the tropical zodiac, which we are all familiar with. And then they have several different sidereal and Vedic zodiacs as well. 54 different chart points, many of which are asteroids. 21 different aspects, including some minor aspects. Geocentric and heliocentric planetary nodes, and other things that we'll get into in the future. The fixed part and the lot calculations. Those are Arabic points that I think Time Passages has that. Okay, they have frequently asked questions down here. I'm not really going to go over any of these, but you guys can. There's no free trial, but it's only $5 a month or $4.50. You can cancel whenever you want. Okay, let me see. What is cloud software? Let's see what they say here. Cloud software, also called a web app, requires no installation and is delivered through your web browser. This means you can log into Luna anytime you're online with any device. Okay, I explained that pretty good. And another great thing is you never have to update anything, and you don't have to deal with all of these little freaking folders that hold. So when I emailed Solar Fire about the Stellarium not working, and then they made me go through all these files and then send them a screenshot of what like the 5th file of gibberish looked like, they were like, how come your such and such and such, which was also gibberish, isn't in that file? I was like, I don't know, lady. I have literally never touched these files before in my life. I didn't even know they existed on my phone. And they were like, oh, well, there should be a such and such and such in that file. With this, you never have to deal with the lady or the file. All of it is updated for you, and you just log in. And so when they get new asteroids, when they get new features, it's just there the next time you come, and you don't have to do any updates, and there's no issues, okay? Okay, so those are the features. We already know the pricing, so let's check out this support. So all of Luna's features and functionality are clearly documented and available in the online knowledge base, both here and in the app. And then they also have a video walkthroughs. So they have this section on tutorials and support. And if you can't find I'm not going to explore it, but you guys can on your own. If you cannot find it and you need help, you can reach out to them directly here on their website. Super easy. And I can tell you no other astrology software has this. You have to hunt them down through email to get, you guys, literally, to get the asteroid software I have that isn't as good as it sounded when reading it, but does have a whole bunch of asteroids, but it's supposed to have more, and I don't know where those extra ones are. I'm probably doing something wrong. I literally had to mail this guy a check in the mail for $100, and then he sent me the link. It felt like I was in like 1992. Like, he was the only way. He doesn't take nothing else, and he's like the one guy with the asteroid program. Astrology software is not really in the future, and that's kind of what they're trying to do here, is bring it into the future, right? And they are willing to support you as you navigate your chart. So here is the place where they have all kinds of charts of celebrities so that you can, start reading other people's charts, people that maybe you know really well, some of your favorite artists or musicians or actors or whatnot. Last time it was Bill Gates right here. I was going to click on his chart to, decode him. None of these people strike my fancy. But anyway, they have all of these different charts. You can search by name You can search by birth date. So you can look at people who have the same birthday as you or of a specific day. I see people who do posts like of famous people born on that day. So like on January 11th, they would do a post about somebody who was born on January 11th. This would be a really great database for that. You can also look it up by this changed. What changed here? Oh, because I hit composer. So you can look it up by, their career or whatever it is that they identify as, right? Okay, so that's pretty cool. Okay. This is where they have their content. If you guys are not already following them on Instagram, you need to follow them on Instagram. Their posts are phenomenal. And their infographics that they use for each full moon and new moon and the lunar cycle make it so easy to really understand what exactly is happening in the sky. You guys know I'm a firm believer of as above, so below. What is happening up there is mirrored down here. And the more we can understand what's happening up there, the more we can understand ourselves. And their words and the graphics that they pair it with really do help. So definitely go follow them on social media over on Instagram, but they also have these fabulous blog posts over here as well for a lot of the major transits. So we just had the Venus, this is of 2021. Maybe that's a typo because it was 2022. March 14th. Oh, this was last year's Venus-Sun superior conjunction. Okay, and then we just had our another Venus-Sun superior conjunction. What was it? A couple of days ago on the 22nd. So they have these blog posts here on different astrological things. Okay, so I was already really interested in this astrology software for you guys. I really wanted to utilize it in the course that I'm bringing forth. I really want to be able to utilize it for my Patreon members because you guys know I want to teach you guys how to read your own chart. Like, I don't think, even though I am an astrologer and I do readings, astrology is supposed to be an intimate relationship between you and the divine. You're not supposed to have a sort of like gatekeeper. I mean, astrologers are cool and I have astrologer friends and I've had readings from other people, but it was really understanding it and unlocking the language of astrology for myself that made it so that I can kind of like live my life in accordance with the cosmos, right? So I was really excited for this because I want you guys to be able to actually use all of these techniques, But then when I met with them on Zoom and I talked with them, I was even more in awe because of the philosophy behind the company. So, we're just going to read their manifesto because it's very beautifully written. The technical preamble. Technically, astrology is fairly far behind other industries and fields of study. Oh my gosh, yes. And the more astrology books I read, the more I realize, wow, okay, yeah, very far behind. And we need to pull it into the future. Almost every other type of software product that exists has one or more cloud versions. For example, Microsoft Office is fully usable in the cloud. Competitors such as Google and Zoho Docs only offer the shift to using the cloud for office productivity. Examples continue in other fields such as accounting, QuickBooks, inventory. There's all these different companies, right? Google and whatnot. Astrology's contribution to the cloud is reminiscent of the 90s. Where presentation is still focused around the structure of a website instead of a web app. By this, I mean that ads are typically a part of the UI. Top navigation and sidebars are the norm, and the charts themselves are presented as another graphic on the web page rather than the central focus of the user's experience, meaning being able to click on it and do stuff and have it take you places. Furthermore, interactivity such as chart animation and dynamic UX is practically non-existent in these astrology websites, like astro.com, which is what most people use. You cannot animate it. For the most part, astrological websites are dedicated to providing content for visitors rather than delivering a sophisticated and professional toolkit for practitioners and students. I guess we could have just read this in the beginning because he's kind of making all the points I made, huh? The next technical deficiency facing the field of astrology is a lack of a standard API that I have literally no idea what all this computer jargon is, but we're just going to read this anyway. API, I have no idea what that means. That can deliver commonly requested calculations to the developers who wish to develop their own mobile apps, widgets, websites, or even desktop applications. Every astrology software programmer must rewrite the same routines for their implementation, despite a great number of intelligent programmers having done so already. The software side of astrology is not taking advantage of the human being's capacity for time bending. By this, I mean our innate ability to transfer knowledge to our descendants. As an example, think of how modern ORMs have been created to alleviate the burden of developers needing to handwrite every SQL statement required when building their applications. Well, a competent developer will still know how to write the SQL and will inevitably do so. ORMs provide, does anybody know what these mean? We're almost done with this part. I think the other thing was what I wanted to read. Oh, the philosophical. This is the part. Oh, the technical part and the philosophical part. Okay, yeah, I got you. I feel you. Okay. So the SQLs are doing stuff. And lastly, the study of astrology is, in the mechanical sense, a study of large, complex data sets. I believe there is a tremendous amount of room to innovate and develop new techniques for analysis and interpretation. Astrologers love to develop new techniques, as well as to study old ones. When we consider that the data set in question is massive, i.e. the movement of at least the entire solar system through tens of thousands of years, and consider that we're looking at correlates between these data sets, anthropological activity experiences can easily see how the field of astrology may actually know no bounds in terms of how said data may be queried and analyzed. Okay, that was a mouthful. In summary, some stuff about computers and data. Okay, the philosophical preamble. On the philosophical side, astrology may be even further behind than it is technically. In astrology, just about anything goes. If a person can find a correlation with an astrological measurement or some type of meaning whatsoever, that measurement will be regarded, at least by some, to be a valid technique, proving the validity of the practice. In no other field of study is such self-referential, I have no idea that word, and subjective proof used as groundwork for determining that fields axioms and validity. What began as an extremely exciting new type of thinking and development throughout the 20th century with the advent of psychological and archetypal astrology, which is of course my favorite, has seemed to diffuse into a confusing and chaotic set of almost vivacious antidotes that belly through and deeply contemplated meanings. Now often bundled with the broad and thin term modern astrology, psychological astrology has lost its place as the forerunner of astrological study and thought. We are, as a field, literally going backwards into the archives of time. Whether or not this proves ultimately useful to humanity first, and the field of astrology second, time will tell. However, the resurgence of terms such as malefic and benefic in practice, not merely academic discourses, concerns me greatly. And I do use the word benefic to reference the benefics, Jupiter and Venus, but I never use the word malefic to reference Mars or Saturn for the reason he's about to touch on. But I guess maybe I also shouldn't say that. That's a good point. It concerns him greatly, for it effectively undoes what the pioneers of psychological astrology worked so hard to achieve. I say this because it seems to encourage a return to a more simplified, binary-oriented mindset, where conventional definitions of good and bad are used, rather than help us move into greater levels of self-awareness, where integration and free will can develop. To do this requires uncovering deeper layers of the unconscious self in order to actualize both personal and eventually collective potential. So you guys can see why I was vibing with this company, because it's like all my jam, right? These are my same pet peeves, you know what I mean? For instance, the meaning of Mars can easily be reduced into a binary consideration of good and bad. If we consider it to be a signification of aggression and violence. Is this all there is to Mars, however? Of course not. It governs our passions, our motivation, our drive, right? By moving into a broader interpretation context, we may see that Mars signifies, quote, an act of autonomously asserting oneself into the environment. Now we are able to see how aggression and violence fold into that, but do not compromise the significance completely. Furthermore, many other interpretations are supported by the expression, while the basic framework of what Mars actually represents is preserved. This is the start of understanding layers of abstraction. While I personally avoid dogma to an almost dogmatic degree, oh my God, that sums me up to a T. Oh my God, I love that. Okay. While I personally avoid dogma to an almost dogmatic degree, I will confess my bias regarding the application of astrology as a tool for psychological and spiritual development. I acknowledge that the term spiritual is loaded and abstract. Thus, I allow the reader to place their own significance upon it. Nevertheless, there is much to be gained through an individual's process of becoming increasingly self-aware, not the least of which is the potential for society as a whole to do the same. Can we imagine a world in which neither good nor bad rule our experiences, but instead one where the integration of our internal conflicts gave way to the fullness of joy? To exapolate on this idea brings forward the vision of what could be and of how astrology could assist in the process. On a side, I don't know if that's, okay, I'm just going to read it as it is. On a side, I might add that pursuing the psychologically oriented paradigm is actually more challenging than a traditional binary oriented one. Yeah. For here we are dealing with issues which go beyond mere mental intelligence and instead require a pursuit of one's emotional nature, subtler motivations, and nonconformist needs, many of which we'd rather remain hidden for fear of what they may actually mean for our lives. Yet beyond any personal beliefs I hold, I desire for both truth-seeking and sense-making persists through them all, such that my intent is to both advocate for the growth and development of a new psychological and transpersonal astrology, and to find ways of gathering together other techniques and philosophical modalities under a centralized astrological theory of everything. This is what I loved so much. After Kevin, which is the owner's name, made the affiliate program, and then we met for our little first affiliate meeting with the other affiliate astrologers. We all had different niches. So, you know, I'm like, oh, black holes and fixed stars and asteroids and all these weird things. And a lot of the other astrologers were more rooted in traditional techniques or Hellenistic techniques. And everyone was there, right? And we both have these things that we want added to the program, and he's working with all of us to add these things to the program. So from the newest, weirdest, most newly discovered points to the most ancient interpretation techniques and points, eventually that's all going to be here in this program, focused around the astrological theory of everything, which, you know, my Libra placements love. All right, we're just going to read this last little bit and then we'll dive into some charts. My intuition and experience continue to show me that differing schools of astrological thought are connected by a very simple principle. However, that requires a great deal of research and discourse. I do not think that an astrological big toe, astrology's big toe, I guess, ought to be developed by one person, nor in isolation. In fact, I would propose that rather than writing such a treatise myself, I might instead create a framework around which such a document may be publicly created and developed. There's a way to make the charts public on here too. For instance, once certain contribution rules were established, the document itself could live under version control, just like software source code. It would be in the public domain, readable by anyone. Content and changes could be proposed similarly to how new code is proposed via patch or pull request, whereby the content would be collectively reviewed before getting merged into the source document. I never understand any of the technological stuff, but maybe somebody out there understands the stuff. Okay. In short, this would be a living document, rife with discourse of various kinds of types, with the express intent on developing a big toe of astrology. To start, I propose 3 keystones of such an astrological toe that can be used to guide the inquiry and development thereof. Cogent, the theory must be rationally incisive, appealing to reason and containing relevance for the current world. Cohesive, the theory must be united and well structured, conceptualizing the field into form and shape. Comprehensive, the theory must be all inclusive, bringing all techniques and sub-theories into account in their rightful place. So he's saying this is going to be a place to bring all the different realms of astrology together and being able to share as like a community, right? I kind of almost think of it almost as like how Wikipedia, you can go in and change stuff. The people have a little bit more control, although sometimes it can get a little crazy, you know? It's kind of like that. Okay, so we did all this. Okay, so let's log in. It should just log me in. Yeah. Okay, so when you log in, this is what it looks like. When you first make your account, you go through this little setup process where you pick a lot of this stuff. Like it prompts you on like, what color do you want? How big do you want your little glyphs? How do you want the outside wheel to look? There's no right or wrong answers to those. You can play with it as it goes. Just pick whichever one looks prettiest to you. That's what I do. Okay, let me check in this chat. I'm going to put somebody's chart in here and we will go. I think when you first log in, what you'll see here is the transit. So this is the current transiting planets here with a couple little extra added points. I'll show you guys how we can add more points here in a second, but I want to put somebody's chart in. Yes, Sam, I'm working on the course. I'm definitely working on that. Oh, of course, she made it in there first. All right, let's go. So to add a chart, you're going to hit the little plus sign button here. I guess maybe I can show you guys we'll do it once we have her chart in here. So you can write what kind of chart this is. This is going to be just someone's natal chart, but you can do an event chart, let's say for the launch of your business. The moment you launch a business, that business has a chart. This would be like an event chart. The like signing of the Declaration of Independence, certain things like that will have a chart, right? Horary chart, we'll do a whole video on that in the future. This is like a divination technique where like if you have a sort of question or you want to make a sort of decision, you can run a chart and get an answer. I don't use this in my practice, but I'll show you guys how to do it if you want. So this is going to be a natal chart. So you can add tags here to create organization. I don't really have organization, but I'm going to try to start. I'm going to write clients. You guys, I just make this stuff up as I go along. Why didn't that say stay? Okay. So her birth date is 9/19. So you need to do the 0 before the 9, right? 19/19/94. Her time is 8:23 p.m. And I'll run a couple charts here. So you guys in there, I'll run a couple charts. And I'm going to do the giveaway at the end. And those of you who are in here in the live, even if you're not a Patreon member, I'm going to do some giveaways at the end here too. Okay, hold on. I can't talk and do this at the same time. 8:23 p.m. And she was born in Westminster, Colorado. So as you start typing, it starts popping it up, and so once you see it, you can kind of just pick it, obviously, you know, we know how this works. So this is the rating for how good the source is. There are different ratings, like kind of like you would get a grade, A, B, C, D, F, or whatever it is, and that's like how well we know that this is accurate information. Did we get this information from the actual person? Did we get this information off of a website? Did we get it from their birth certificate? I'm going to assume this is documented and not untimed. I think it's going to be timed official source, AA. This is AA information because she knows this is her birth time. It's good. I got it from her, not someone else. So I'm going to go ahead and save this chart. And so now what we have here is her natal chart. Whoa. Okay, so you can zoom in on here. How did I do that? Oh, on my little thing. Oh, I never use it like this. Okay, that's cool. Okay, so what we have here is her natal chart. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys what all of these different things are here. And then, you know, we'll add some extra points and we'll do some stuff. So this little tab here is for the chart itself. This is the infographic. So this breaks it down into her sun. Her sun is in Virgo, which is a mutable earth sign. Her moon is in Pisces, which is mutable water. And her rising sign is in Taurus, which is fixed earth. Very easy to read, breaks it all down. It tells you the moon phase that you were born on. So it says the seed revealed. The 5th period occurs when the sun and moon are in opposition to each other. At this point, the waning cycle, which is when the moon is moving backwards towards the sun, begins, and the moon is both 180 degrees ahead and behind the sun. It's in opposition. This period represents the culmination and our fulfillment of what is seeded. It's a full moon. Was fulfillment of whatever seed was born at the new moon. However, we are aware of the effects of our previous decisions and actions. We benefit from seeing the situation as impartially as possible in order to take advantage of what is being revealed to us. This period is the height of power and energy. We are free to act on whatever we realize is needed, since we can be very clear now. Major realizations are possible. So you were born at a full moon with the sun in Virgo and the moon in Pisces. So this is an illumination of the spiritual seed. This is an illumination in the realm of Pisces, in the realm of the unseen, of the unconscious. Now, the moon phase in astrology is used a lot in fertility astrology. So apparently, conception can much more easily occur if you attempt to conceive during the same moon phase that you were born on. And there's lots of different astrologers that talk about that. So it breaks down the zodiac attributes, right? So this breaks down the modalities, right? Whether it's mutable, which she has lots of mutable in her chart. She also has lots of fixed and cardinal, right? So it breaks it all down. She has 43.5% fixed, with these being the planets that fall in that. I can't hover over it. So you'll see her Venus, her Jupiter, her Pluto, her nodes, her ascendant, her descendant, her Lilith, and then that other little glyph there is the opposition to Lilith. And mutable signs, I guess she has the least immutable actually. She has her sun, her moon, her Saturn, and her Chiron. So while she doesn't have very many planets in the mutable energy, they are very significant planets in her chart. So she is very strongly feeling the mutable vibes. It says here, and then here is the cardinal energy. And then it breaks down. It tells you a little bit about what that is, right? Cardinal signs are initiatory. They spark the seasons. They start the seasons. They're ambitious and capable of moving on quickly. Fixed signs, they are sit in the middle of a season. So they are very determined and productive and capable of following through reliably. They have this sort of steadfast energy about them. Mutable signs are flexible, versatile, and capable of adapting to change easily, because they are literally the signs responsible for shifting from one season into another. It also breaks up the elements. You can see that she has the least amount of fire in her chart. She has a lot of water, a lot of earth. She is very polarized into the feminine polarity. So the water and earth signs are the feminine polarity, and the air and fire signs are the masculine polarity. And so she sits very comfortably in the feminine part of her psyche, and she has to work harder to embody those sort of masculine attributes of action and initiation and motivating drive, right? So it's always said, and the only fire placement you actually have is Eris. Eris, we all have Eris in a fire placement, because Eris has been in Aries for so long. She sits beyond Pluto, so she moves so slow. So the only fire placement you have is Aries. So I say I lack water in my chart because I don't have any Pisces or Cancer placements, and I have Scorpio as my only water. So my water is very deep and dark and fiery, right? And so I work to supplement water into my life in different ways in order to kind of activate that more compassionate, empathic part of that element within my psyche. And for you, it would really, so your Mercury is in an air sign though, so you do have that sort of intellectual part of the masculine showing up in your personality, in your dynamic. Your mind is very plugged in to the intellectual atmosphere, but the drive, the action, the assertion is a part that you may lack. And I'm going to have to come over there to see the chat, because I can't see if you're saying anything, because my phone just died. So to find ways to align with the element of fire, I do a lot of water rituals to align with the element of water, whether it be like ritual baths or teas or things like that, tinctures, things like that. Working with the element of water for you, working with the element of fire is going to be paramount to coming into balance. But you are so rooted in the psychic realm. You are so rooted in the unconscious, in that deeply grounded and intuitive feminine faculties. Okay. So it says here that fire inspires, drives, and creates with enthusiasm. So this is what you're you need to work to embody more within you. And Eris, which is the planet that you have in that fire sign, is the planet of chaos and discord. And so finding ways to turn the chaos into inspiration, into drive, into order will ultimately be the best way for you to align with this fire element. So Earth manifests results through practicality and productivity, which you have in spades. You also have water, which feels and emotes sensitivities and intuitions. And air shares ideas and processes information intellectually. Even though you only have your Mercury there, Mercury in an air sign in its home sign, I can't tell what it is until I go back to your chart, is strongly placed for the mind. They have a lot of different charts and graphs. Lots of my softwares have these. I cannot read them. I don't like to use graphs or things like this. I don't know why. My brain just can't read this. I can read an astrology chart, but a lot of these graphs just boggle my mind. So if they boggle yours, just keep scrolling. So this is really great because it breaks down the major aspects to your sun in opposition to your moon, in trine to your Uranus, sextile your Pluto, trine your Lilith, working very harmoniously with the repressed parts of the psyche. Your moon, major aspects to your moon, to your angles, both your IC, which is the top of your chart, your MC, which is the top of your chart, the IC, which is the bottom of your chart. The midheaven has a lot to do with our mission, our purpose, our career. The IC has a lot to do with our subconscious, with our innermost world. And then the AC and DC, which are our ascendant, our rising sign, and our descendant, our setting sign, which have a lot to do with the self and the partnership. And they show you all the main aspects to this. So this is really great. So you can have your chart, you can be looking, and then you can look deeper into your chart. You're like, okay, so I was born with my sun opposite my moon. What does that mean? Google is your friend. Another thing that is really majorly your friend is, I meant to grab these books beforehand and I forgot. Okay, I'll just tell you the names of them. The books Planets in Aspect by Robert Hand. It has like a blue cover. And also Planets in Transit, both by Robert Hand, are going to be your kind of guide through this. So you can look up all of these aspects in your chart. There'll be a page on sun opposite moon, and you can read all about that. There'll also, in that other book, the transits, will be references for any time something is conjunct one of your planets, square one of your planets, in opposition to one of your planets, or whatnot, with the transits, right? Okay. More graphs. This shows you how your chart breaks down in the hemispheres, right? So you have pretty even balance between the north and south hemisphere. You have 12 placements here in the south and 11 placements here in the north. The top half of our chart has a lot more to do with our outer world, while the bottom half of the chart has a lot more to do with like the development of the self and the inner world. Let me see what he says here. Planets in the south, the upper chart, tend towards a conscious and objective orientation to the world, the outside world. And planets in the north tend towards subconscious and subjective orientation to the world. So like inner world, outer world, right? This breaks down the east and west, which is not usually an interpretation I normally use. So let me see what he says here. You have about 10 placements on the east and 13 on the west. Planets in the east are like an output stream, actively asserting their energy towards others and into the environment. And planets in the west are like an output stream, receiving energy from others and the environment. And you're pretty balanced in both of those. And then it breaks it down into the quadrants as well, and it tells you what that is all about. So this is the infographic. This breaks down all the aspects. Let me come and see you guys here. Spencer and I both have oppositions. I noticed this fact about me. That's why I became a wild land firefighter for a few years. Did you really? This is why I love doing readings live. I used to like email readings and the people weren't there. And then once I started doing them live, they were so mind-blowing to me that that's how I do them now, because I get to hear stuff like that from you guys. Of course you were a wildlife fighter thing. That's so freaking cool. Okay, so this breaks down all of your transits. So this is a really great resource to kind of look and see what are aspecting your sun, your moon, or whatnot. Now, this is a great resource, and it's here, and you can use it. I don't use graphs. I don't use this. I'll show you what I use in a second when we get to the chart, which is, in my opinion, a lot more easy and one of my favorite features of this program. So this is where you pick the chart points, okay? So it shows you your sun, your moon, your Mercury, your Venus, your Mars, your Jupiter, your Saturn, which is retrograde in your chart, your Uranus, which is retrograde in your chart, your Neptune, which is retrograde in your chart. Retrogrades are innately tied to reincarnation. And so diving into whatever planet is retrograde in your chart and the sort of karma tied to them, can really offer a lot when it comes to your soul evolution. Knowing what's retrograde in your chart and working with them. This is internalized energy that's rewriting and reclaiming something from the past. And there are deep karmic lessons tied to these. And you have 3 very significant planets all retrograde. One of the societal planets, and then two of the outer planets that are innately tied to our awakening process and our spirituality in the realm of mysticism. So then you have Pluto, the nodes, right? Lilith. This is the opposition to Lilith, this little glyph. So Lilith is the farthest point in the moon's orbit, and Priapus is the closest point in the moon's orbit. I never really used this glyph before, but it comes with Lilith and it balances it out, and so I love that it's here. Chiron, Eris, Ceres, which is the biggest and first asteroid ever found. This is Demeter, or Persephone's mother. It has a lot to do with our cycles, fertility, the land, nature, the mother, and then there's all these extra points that you can add. These are all asteroids. What's happening here? These are all asteroids. You can literally go and add every single one if you want, and it will all be on the chart. The chart will be hard to read, but they'll all be there, and you can see which ones are aspecting your planets, if they're conjunct, in opposition. Some asteroid astrologers only really use conjunctions and oppositions for asteroid aspects, but others use squares and anything else. But if you want to kind of limit it, you can do the ones that are conjunct or in opposition, because those are the strongest aspects. These are all different asteroids. Like I said, I'm about to give him a list of the ones that I use, and we're going to add them in. I'm just going to add a couple because I want to see where they are at in your chart. These are the nodes of the planets. I don't use those in my interpretations, but they're there if you want to use them. These are different Arabic points. Let's put Hades in there. And well, you got all those Pisces placements. I'm going to put Poseidon and see where Poseidon is. And you can see how he has a lot of the male gods and not enough of the ladies. So I am going to give him a little list. I'm going to get Hecate and Persephone in here and Sophia. You know me. Okay, let's do those. Okay, so then you can save the points here. You can update your preferences with whatever sort of points you want. We'll go back to the chart in a second. So this is if you want to add midpoints, and this is what the midpoints are. I don't super use midpoints, but I will use them if I like notice the midpoint of something being like aspected at a time of illumination or something like that. I'll do a video in the future on midpoints. You don't really need to use them. This is where you can add chart notes, and it goes kind of like in a timeline. I believe this is the timeline. I know that's the share and download. I guess it's here once you add it. And so it'll be like, on this date, I wrote this, like I seen whatever was conjunct my this or that or whatever, and it all stays here like a timeline. And then this is where you can send it to somebody. So it comes with a symbol key. You can share all of the notes that you've typed on this chart, and you can email it or download it as a PDF or save it as an image. And it looks very nice. I love it. It looks fabulous. Okay, so let's go back to your chart now that we've added some of these points. I hate that my thing. Hi, Andrea. Okay, I hate that my phone died. I'm sorry, I have to keep coming back here to see you guys. Okay, so she said, yep, I literally threw myself in the fire. Oh my God. She said, okay, yeah, I literally threw myself in the fire. I love that so much. Okay, so let's look at your chart, right? So as you can see, especially when we start to add a lot of extra points, the chart gets really busy here in the middle. And so like I can read this because I've gotten used to reading charts with a lot of lines. But for you, it might be kind of hard. And so this is one of my favorite features of this software is that you can click on any planet and it will isolate all of the aspects to that planet. So you don't need to use those graphs where it breaks down all of the different aspects here because it's nice and I like it. And it's cool to like kind of jot it down before a session so you can see like what aspects are being made to people's planets. But honestly, I never use this. All my softwares have this. I don't use it. My Solar Fire does do this. It isolates it, but in the most annoying way. Like you have to like click this and set a whole bunch of things and click a whole bunch of things and then say which planet you want it to. But if you exit out of this little box that pops up here, it immediately disappears. So just to kind of do it once, I end up having to do it like 3 times because I keep messing it up. But here, it's super easy. You just click on it. It isolates it. So you can see her sun is here at 26 degrees of Virgo in the 5th house. That 5th house, so while your sun is in an earth sign, and you do have, not a lot of fire placements in your chart, this is a fire-ruled house. The 5th house is the house of creativity and personal expression and our hobbies and our joys and our passion, children, literally the created life that we make in this reality that we can make with ourselves, where we can become creators ourselves, making little tiny versions of ourselves. It also governs romance. And so you have that fire in there. You just have to find it in a grounded, practical way, which, your Virgo placements might have on deck that grounded, practical way, but your Pisces moon is far from grounded and practical as you can get, which is a nice balance. It really does balance it out. Too much Pisces energy, too much water energy, too plugged into the etheric, into the cosmic, and you'll be like flowing in the spiritual, mystical dimension, but you won't be able to bring any of that back into the real world and use it in any sort of practical means, in any sort of realm of service, right? In too much earth energy and you're too far in the practical world. You're not allowing the magic into your reality. But this opposition in your chart has this great balance between both. Now, I would assume you've probably swung from one side to another throughout your journey, and you're working on trying to find a middle ground. And balance between the unseen and the seen is kind of your incarnation's mission, right? Finding balance between the self and the collective, between our personal self-expression and the collective consciousness, and also this etheric, mystical realm and this earthly, practical realm, and finding ways to fuse the two together. Your sun is sitting in a trine to Uranus. Uranus is the planet of awakening, electric awakening. It has a lot to do with progress. It has a lot to do with breaking the chains that bind us, right? It's very close to your midheaven, to your area that revolves around your purpose and your career, but it's in your 9th house, which is the house of philosophical mind. It is the house of belief systems. And with Uranus there, we're being asked to really push through into new areas when it comes to the dogmatic systems of belief and our own philosophical mind, ultimately. It's also sitting in a trine to Lilith. So it's in a grand trine with Lilith and Uranus. So part of what you are meant to be awakening and liberating is Lilith, the deepest, most repressed parts of our psyche. You have Lilith in the 1st house of the self. And so this revolves somewhat around your identity as a person. It's also in Taurus, which is a very fixed and somewhat rigid sign. That the fixed signs are the hardest signs to change because they are so fixed in their energy. And so your chart kind of incarnated to liberate the most repressed, rigid parts of our psyche. And Uranus is the one who can do it because it's electric, awakening dynamics. And a lot of this happens for you in the earth realm. This is a grand earth trine. So it needs to be very practical. It needs to be very grounded. It needs to have a connection to the land, to nature, to the plant kingdom, to the things that we can touch and we can see. It's the finding the beauty and the divinity in our earthly reality, ultimately. Okay, so I'm going to... so you click on it again, this pops up. And so it tells you a little bit more about that planet. It tells you your Virgo is at 26 degrees, mutable earth, 5th house, it's direct. It tells you a little bit about its coordinates, and then it tells you the main aspects, right, to that planet. Which are all things that you can read about more in those books by Robert Hand. They're the best ones out there. They're not ideal, but they're the best. Planets in aspect. I also have his book Planets in Composite, and I also have his book Planets in Youth, which would be how you would look at a kid's chart. And then Planets in Transit for looking at transits, which is what we're going to look at next. I just want to come on, how do you exit out of that? Why isn't it doing the thing? Okay, there. Okay, so I just want to look and see where those asteroids I put in there are for you. Okay, so the asteroid Poseidon is on your descendant. So it's conjunct your dividing line for your 7th house in Scorpio. And what else did we put in there? I forgot what else we put in there. Oh, here. Which one was this? I can't remember the glyph. We can click on it again and it'll tell us. Hades. So you have Hades, not in any main aspects to really any of your planets. These are all kind of more minor aspects. Oh, it is in a square to your Chiron. And in a trine with your Eros, which has a lot to do with like passionate relationships. So through intense, passionate relationships, you are shown your underworld And through those, you can help to navigate the depths of your psyche as well. Let's see. That's in a square to Chiron. Okay, I'm going to run somebody else's chart here, but I got to go back over to, let me see if there's anything else here. So you can see it's pretty, oh, that's right. We were going to do the transits. Okay, so I'm going to run somebody else's chart to do the transits with. So let's go over here to add a new chart. I got to come and find it over here, so this is going to be kind of awkward. Hopefully some of that resonated, Sam. Your chart is super rad. I would love to spend some time with it. Oh, hold on. I do want to look at one more thing. I just wanted to see if any... Oh, these are the transits? Oh, these are the transits. All right, we already moved on. I was going to see if any of the little starseed points stood out to me, but it already moved. So we're going to go over here to somebody else's, and we'll do some transits. I'll show you guys how to run a bi-wheel so you can look at your transits. And if you guys have any questions, go ahead and add them in the chat. Okay, William, we are going to do you. Let me just write this down on a piece of paper so I don't have to keep coming back here. March 25th, ooh, right around the equinox. I know your sun is going to be very close to in opposition to the supergalactic center. 2002, oh my god, I feel so old. Oh my god. Okay, 18 or 6:18 p.m. Oh, William, I need to know your place, like your place. Where were you born? What was your city and country? Rachel, yeah, you don't have the place either. If you're here, William. Okay, location. Overland Park, Kansas. Okay. All right. Cool. All right, perfect. You guys can see it's like super easy to use this program, especially once we get over to this transits, you'll see how easy it is. Okay, so William, natal, he will put it in the client section since I guess we're doing the whole organized thing now. Thoughts new. 03252002. I think it should do the military time, no problem. I'll just do the regular time. I don't know. I never do the military time. All my other softwares do it. I don't know if they do it. So we'll just do that just to make sure. Location, Overland Park, Kansas. Okay. And he knows this is his birth information, so it's good. We're going to save it. Okay. So what we have here is his natal chart. He can go and do all of the same thing. He can look at his infographic too. We're not going to go through this whole thing, but his sun is in Aries, his moon is in Leo, and he has a Libra rising. So he's got the fire in his chart. Let's just look and see how this is. Oh, pretty balanced with the elements. Your elements are pretty balanced. So are your modalities. That Libra rising is probably very happy about that. Pretty balanced here, but a little off balance here. But I don't really, like I said, I never really use the East and West. I guess that's something I could add to my practice. I'm always learning new things. All right, let's go over to the chart. Let's figure out how to run some transits, right? So let's say you figured out to get your natal chart in here. Yeah, your sun is exactly opposite my sun, dude. My sun is at 5 degrees of Aries, and my sun is at 5 degrees of Libra, and your sun is at 5 degrees of Aries. Exactly opposite. You know, your sun is conjunct Joseph Campbell's sun. I don't know if you're familiar with Joseph Campbell's work, but you should get into it. It's right on top of your sun. So let's say you have your chart in here and you have been messing around with the natal chart. You've gone through, you looked at all this stuff and you're like, okay, so what is happening in the sky right now in correlation with my chart. And so what you would do is you would come over here and you would add a bi-wheel and you would add the transits. So that is going to add an outer wheel of where the planets are right now, and the inner wheel would be your natal chart. So we click that, and that's what we have here. And so you can see what is being transited, right? You can see that Jupiter, which is retrograde, has just finished transiting his sun and is now moved into Pisces. It's pretty close to his descendant. You can see that Mars, which is stationing retrograde here in Gemini on the 30th, here in just a couple of days, is going to be spending his retrograde here in his 9th house. So Mars, like we said earlier, Mars is the planet of drive and action and motivation. It is transiting through Gemini, which houses his north node. So his north node is the point that represents his fated, karmic, destined future. What he came here to do. It's in the 9th house of philosophy, of the teacher, the guide, that who helps others to understand these higher realms, whether it be academia, whether it be religion, whether it be philosophy, whatever it may be. This house is the house of the higher self. And he also has Saturn here. So not only is his north node here, his fated karmic mission, what he came in this soul, in this incarnation to develop, that offers the most evolutionary growth for his soul, has a lot to do with information. Gemini has a lot to do with communication and has a lot to do with the expansion of the mind through questioning and analyzing and pushing beyond fixed dogmatic systems. Not only is this his fated karmic mission because his north node is there, but he also has Saturn there. And Saturn is literally the lord of karma. He is our deep soul work, what we came here to do, that is fucking hard, but literally what we have to do to not keep repeating this karmic loop over and over and over again. Now, Mars usually spends about 2 months in a sign, but because he's stationing retrograde at like the end of Gemini, then he's gonna like go retrograde and transit all over this again. He's gonna literally transit all the way back to 8 degrees, station direct on his Saturn. He's stationing retrograde on his north node, transiting all the way back to his Saturn, stationing direct in January, I think. Hold on, I want it to be accurate, so let me tell you right now. So he will station retrograde on the 30th on top of your north node in the 9th house, and then he's going to station direct. It's either December or January. I can't remember. January. On January 12th at 8 degrees, he's going to station direct on Saturn, which means he is going to transit over this area of your chart 3 times, and he is going to be here for 7.5 months. When he's normally only in a sign for 2 months. And he doesn't even come by every sign every year because he has a longer orbit than Earth. It's like a 2-year orbit. So over this next couple of months, between even past January into next year, where your motivation, where your drive, where your attention is being focused is going to shift significantly in order to align you more with what it is you came here to do karmically as your mission. It's also very close to your midheaven. And so this has a lot to do with what you came here to do in the public sphere, and lingers on that edge of career where you could also possibly be making money through this sort of field as well. Okay, so we can also see, this is big, that the eclipse that we are going to have on November 8th, the same day as the election, which will fall at 16 degrees of Taurus conjunct Uranus, is going to be conjunct his natal Mars. So not only is Mars transiting these planets in the 8th house, his natal Mars in the 9th house, that philosophical, expansive, higher mind, his natal Mars in the 8th house, the realm of the occult, the realm of astrology, the realm of the hidden mysteries of ourself, our psyche, our reality, that have a lot to do with working through our traumas and our shadows and our projections on a path towards truth and really finding and knowing thyself and transforming, this sort of house of death, rebirth, and transformation. This is where we become the phoenix, reborn in truth. And his driving force is this area of his life. And his Mars is being exactly transited by Uranus right now, the awakener. So this driving force is being awakened in him right now, not only by Uranus, but also by the transiting North Node, fate and destiny itself. And this eclipse that is going to be in November is going to be on November 8th. It's going to be right on top of his Mars, starting this fated karmic new beginning, this culmination when it comes to where his attention is going to be shifting here over the coming months. Let's see if there's anything else that stands out to me here. I mean, there's a lot to talk about, but those two are really big. So I really want to just kind of leave it there because these are two huge transits that are happening for you personally here over the coming months. This awakening when it comes to this realm of the occult, of mysteries, of the depths of your psyche and the self-transformation process, and this direction of attention and energy when it comes to what it is you came here to do, which revolves a lot around belief systems and the higher mind. Okay, I can't see what you guys are saying, so I have to come over here. He said that he saw something about him today. Joseph Campbell, oh, I love him. Yeah, your sun is exactly conjunct his. You should definitely get into his work. You should read Hero with 1,000 Faces. You could start there. Or if you're not a big reader, you can watch his special on PBS. It's like a 6-part special. If you're a Patreon member, you can find this over on Discord in the Myth and Legends section. But it's a interview that he did on PBS. There's 6 different episodes. One of them is on the hero dynamic, another one on the goddess, but it's on all these different mythological dynamics, and it's just fabulous. It's just fabulous. It never gets old. Okay, so this is how you would run your transits. Now, I don't know if it has interpretations, does it? Okay, so yeah, you can isolate what is aspecting in your chart to a transiting planet. But I guess it doesn't have any sort of written interpretations on that. So you could look it up, right? So you could look here and you can see, okay, transiting Mars. And if you don't know what the planet is, you can click on it and it will tell you Mars. Right here, if you don't know how to read the glyphs. You click on it twice to get that thing to pop up. Once isolates it, twice gets that thing to pop up, right? So you can Google these things. It's not great. I really do recommend those books, but you can Google Mars transiting the North Node. This is a very initiatory planet of action, drive, motivation, but this motivation is shifting when it comes to where it is that you are moving towards. But this has a lot to do with what it is your soul came here to do. And you can Google Mars conjunct North Node transit. That's how you would word it. Mars conjunct natal North Node transit. And then read what comes up. And you can do that same thing with aspects in your chart. Let's say you have Mars conjunct the North Node in your chart. You can write that same thing minus the word transit. Mars conjunct North Node natal. And you can read what that aspect means in your chart. And then you can start writing little notes in the notes section and building this sort of concept of your chart. And the more you look at it, the more you will understand. So this is the other thing that I love the most is that the space-time navigator. I even love the name space-time navigator. And this is where you can move these transiting planets here around. So we have your natal chart on the inside, and these planets on the outside are going to move. And you can move by days, you can move by hours, by minutes, if you want to find like the exact minute. So when I'm like, the sun will exactly conjunct the galactic center at 3:57 p.m. on this day and this time. This is how I find that. I like click all the way until I find the exact minute for certain degrees or whatnot. So you can move by minutes, you can move by hours, you can move by days, you can move by weeks, months, years, days. This is how I do my monthly videos, and you can see, why isn't that working? Okay, it is working. Okay, yeah. So you can see how they're inching forward, right? So I'm going to do weeks because I want to kind of show him how Mars is going to transit here, station direct, and then move forward. And I want to see when it hits the North Node for the third and final time, which will be after January, after it stations direct and moves forward. So I want to find that for him now. I guess we can also find when it does it again because it's going to be at 21 degrees. So let's do days first. Okay, now weeks is fine. 23, 21. And then we're going to zoom in so that we can see the minutes here. Oops. So 21:36, 21:12, and so it's a little bit farther. So I'm going to go back just a little bit. Went too far. Whatever, that's the closest. So it's going to be on November 20th, Mars. Nope, that's at 22. I forgot it was retrograde. $21.12. Okay, so it will be on the 23rd. That's my mom's birthday. So on the 23rd, Mars is going to make it to your North Node for the second of 3 passes. Then it's going to keep moving. It's going to station direct on your Saturn around January 12th. Then it's going to move back here again, and it's going to hit your North Node again. We're going to find that date now, and both those days are going to be significant for you when it comes to understanding where your attention needs to go when it comes to developing your fated karmic mission in this lifetime that innately revolves around communication, information, and higher knowledge. Okay. So you can see here, these are the dates. You can see on the solstice, it'll be at 11 degrees. So this is how you can track your transits. This is what astro.com does not do. This is what Time Passages does not do. This is one of the main reasons why this software is so amazing, is being able to move forward through time. Okay. Okay, so right before your birthday, it'll be around March 5th, 2023. That is when that third and final pass will be coming to your North Node. So it will be significantly into your birthday that this house is being transited by Mars. So a lot of shifting of your action in order to conserve your energy and focus on karmic soul work that you came here to do, which revolves very heavily around, and this is Hades right here. So it has a lot to do with the underworld, with the belief systems because of the 9th house. information, communication because of Gemini. And it has a lot to do with your karma that you incarnated with because of Saturn. Okay, so how do we zoom out? Okay, that's cool. It's a lot easier to do on the phone, the zooming thing. Okay, so let me come over here and see what you guys... All right, perfect. Yeah, William, both those things are super rad. All right, so I am going to... I guess I'm probably going to do the giveaway now. And then I have a couple of questions that people have sent my way that I will end on. I'm going to come back over here to the charts when it's time for those questions because I do want to use a chart to answer one of them. Okay, let me go over here to this. My kids helped me write all of your guys' names in this tiny little bowl. There's like 130 names. They wrote it so small and they cut them like so perfect. Like my one kid has a Virgo stellium and my other kid is a Virgo rising, and it's like, look at how perfect those all are. You can't really see, but I'm just like, wow. Okay, so I'm going to do a couple of things. I said I was going to give away one reading, but I'm actually going to give away two because that's just how I am. So I'm going to do two readings. If you win, you need to send me an email telling me what you won. If it's a physical thing, because I have a couple of physical things that I would need to mail to you, you need to also send me your address. But I'm going to give away two readings, and I have some t-shirts and stuff like that, but I'm going to start with the readings. I'm realizing that my little thingy for the bowl is over there across the room, but it's fine. Okay. So I wish everybody good luck, and thank you so much for supporting me on Patreon. We've reached over 100 members, which is super exciting, and I really could not do this without you guys. I also really, really enjoy the structure that Patreon gives me, and astrology in general. It's like, you have to do a video on this day because there is a moon, and you need to do this then, and it gives me this just the right amount of structure to be able to like create, you know, and I love it. All right, so we're going to do two readings, and I have these paintings that I did during the first Neptune-Jupiter conjunction of little galaxies, and they're encoded. My camera is really bad, but they're little oil paintings that are encoded with the energy, the mystical, intuitive energy of the Neptune-Jupiter conjunctions. I have two of those. And some paintings. Okay, so let's do the readings first. Oh my god, it's so tiny. Jessa Davidorf. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I don't know how to pronounce that last name. Jessa, Jessa, last name Devedorf. So you won the first reading, and for the people who won the readings, I am going to email you. So if you're not here, you still won, regardless of if you're here. So I'll send emails to the readers, to the readings. Okay, so one more reading, and then I'm going to do some giveaways for those of you guys who are here in the chat. It was Eddie's idea. I'm going to do like a guess a number between 1 and whatever, and whoever is the closest. This is every single one of the Patreon members. This is literally every single one of the Patreon members. My kids did it. I was like, if you do that, I'll get you ice cream after dinner. And my kid was like, can I get cash? I was like, what? I was like, I don't have any cash. I only have a card. She's like, I need money for Christmas presents. I was like, all right, kid, I'll get you some cash. Okay, second reading. Norbert Lakatos. Last names are so hard. Oh my gosh, if I was ever like a substitute teacher and I had to read people's names, it's like that one Keegan and Keel skit where they can't read the names. It's so bad. Okay. Norbert last name, Lakatos. Okay, I'm going to give away one more reading, but this one will have to be in December because I am all booked for November. But this reading will be for those of you guys in the chat. Okay, so I'm going to pick a number. I don't know what to do it between. I'm going to pick a number between 1 and 10, I guess. And the first, I haven't guessed it yet, so don't write the number yet because I don't know what it is yet. And whoever gets closest, who's here in the chat right now, wins the reading. That's the best way to do it, I guess? Okay, so 1 to 10. Okay, let me think of a number. Okay, go. Go ahead and write your number in the thing. Oh, I'm going to write it down so everybody knows I already wrote it down. Okay. You guys can write your numbers. And then I'll pull some more stuff. There's like a delay. Okay, William says 6. 7, 8. Deanie got it. It's 4. Okay. All right. Send me an email, hun, okay? So that I have an email address to go with that handle. Okay, so she won. It was 4. I wrote 4 right here. Okay, so Eddie made a whole bunch of shirts. I have tons of shirts, but there's like one of every size. I mean, there's like one of each design. And so they're all kind of random. These are just some of the examples of them. I only have medium and large. So if you win a shirt, you need to send me an email with your address. He made these designs, like he like drew them and made the whole design, and he made the shirt. He like screened them himself. If you win this shirt, I need you to send me an email at thecosmicspacewitch@gmail.com with what size you want, either medium or large. It's in unisex. I wear medium and a large because I like my shirts big. Send me the size and your address. So then there's like some like this that say like Starseed and Cosmic Alliance on the back. And some that just say like cosmic, and of course there's like bright colors, so it's gonna be random. So you might get a bright shirt, you might get a not bright shirt. You guys know how I feel about color. So I'm gonna give away a couple of shirts. I'm gonna do a couple here from this drawing, and then I'm gonna do a couple of you guys that are here in the chat. We'll do the same way with that number. That seemed to work pretty good. And then I'm going to do one of these paintings from the drawing and one to you guys here in the chat for coming here and being here with me and watching me talk about this software until, 11 o'clock. Okay, so let's do these. Yeah, the shirts that's pretty much all I wear are the shirts that Addie makes. My kids too, we just all wear like cosmic shirts. There's other designs too. I just didn't want to like show them all, but there's so many. Okay, so I'm going to do, that one fell out, so I guess that's it. This is for one of the paintings. Lauren Barber. So that was from the drawing. And so now I'm going to do a painting for you guys here in the chat. We'll just do the same thing. Number between 1 and 10, but hold on, I have to think of it first. Okay, go. $2 a.m. on the East Coast, gang. Whoop, whoop. Sam, you're like me. You're a night owl. I would be up at like 2 a.m. too, but I'd have to be listening to this all quiet because Eddie would be sleeping next to me. I have to turn it up just loud enough to hear over his snores. William says 8. Nico says 6. Andrea says 7. Jep says, Andrea says 6 and Jep says 7. Not yet. Keep going. You guys can guess more than once. No. No. Not 5 or 3. There's not many left. Oh, William got it. It's 2. All right, William. And I'll send you guys packages. So make sure you send me your address too for the painting as well. William, not www. That's my website. thecosmicspacewitch@gmail.com. You got it all ready, William. It's 2. He's like, I'm just going to put all my bases just in case. All right. Congratulations, William. All right. So we got the paintings out of the way. We got the readings out of the way. Okay. Let's do some shirts. I'm going to do a couple of shirts. We have a lot of them. So, okay, let's see. Let me do some out of here first. Let's do one over here. Okay. Oh my God, these are so tiny. Mary Hurst. Oh, Mary, are you here? Okay, shirts. Okay. I think there's a huge delay. There's a huge delay for me. There's a huge delay. Yeah. Okay. Mary, I'm going to do one more from here for a shirt. Make sure if you guys win a shirt that you send me your address and the size, okay? Okay, so for some of the Patreon names, like, you guys kind of have an option as to what you want to be called on Patreon. Some people use their real name, and some people use like handle. So this is one of the handles on Patreon. Hands of the Hearth. I don't know. My kid drew some little fire things there too. Looks like a little fire and some little hands. She probably drew the logo so I could find it. I'm all, if it's a name that doesn't have a last name, like, put some sort of identifying mark. And I think she drew the logo. That's so cute. You see it? No? Okay, whatever. I think it's cute. Okay, so let me write this down. And then we'll do some of you guys here in the... I'm going to do one more from the thing, and then I'm going to do 3 from the bowl and 3 from the chat. Hands of the... I wonder if it's Earth or Hearth, because she did put an H there, but... Okay. So we'll do one more from here. Catherine 007. Yeah, Hearth is a fireplace. Yeah. Oh, and there's a little flame by it. Does make sense. Okay, so Catherine with a Y, 007. Okay. If you're a Patreon member, I will be able to email you or message you on Patreon about this. But if you are in the chat, I definitely need you to send me an email because I won't be able to do any of that. Okay. So let's do 3 t-shirts from the chat. We'll do 3 different numbers through 10 again, because that seems to be working good. So let me think of a number. Okay. All right, go. I'm going to start doing these more. So I did a bunch of giveaways when I first launched my Patreon. And then I said I was going to do another round of giveaways when I reached 100, which is where we're at now. And I'm going to do another round when we reach 150. We're at like 130, like around 130. So that's not too far in the future. So we'll do another giveaway. I should do these more often. William says 9. Elizabeth says 6. Andrea says 3. Miko says 4. 5, 2, 7. 1, 1. Miko, you got it. It's 8. Okay. Miko got it. All right. Congratulations, Ma. Okay. We'll do one more. Let me think of a number. Okay. All right. Go. Again, we'll just start here where you guys are going, but I have the number written down. So the first person I see who writes this now that I've written this number down, we'll get it. Yay, Miko! I'll send you a little package with stickers and stuff too for everybody that I'm mailing stuff with. I always send a bunch of stuff. Nope, not yet. Andrea, you got it. It's 5. All right. Okay, so we'll do one more. Let me think of the number. Okay. All right. Go. Yay, Andrea. And then for those of you who have gotten this software, if you are messing around and you have any questions, send them my way for future videos so I know what to kind of show you on. But I would think after this video, you guys can start diving into your chart, your transits, exploring your modalities, your elements. No, not yet. Yeah, it's fabulous software. And like I said, I'm working on sending them the list. So they're going to have all of the points that I use, the black holes, at least the galactic center and super galactic center, Atlantis, Hecate, Persephone. I'm going to make them put some dark goddesses in there. We're going to get Sophia. All the points that I use. Not yet, guys. Keep guessing. Oh, my neck. William, you got it. It was 1. Okay. I'm going to do one more. Eddie told me to give away like 10 shirts. 6. We've done 6. I'll do one more. Okay. For you guys here in the chat. Let me think of the number. Okay. We'll do one more here in the chat and I'll do one more from that bowl. All right, keep going. I wrote it down. I'll let you know when I see it pop up after I wrote it, though, you know. Yay, William. Oh, this camera. You guys, the amount of research I did when it was time to buy this camera, the amount of YouTube videos I watched of gamers talking about cameras, and then I bought this camera because it was supposed to be the best camera. It hates me. Not yet, guys. Keep guessing. Come on, it's so blurry. I'll pick one from this while you guys keep guessing, because I'll pick the one for them for the other one. Okay, this is someone's email address to... Nope, not yet. Keep guessing. Frida I think that's a C. Frida CF at OM. I'm just going to email them, but I'm pretty sure her name is Frida, but I'll send the email to, or a message over on Instagram. 3. Oh, that's perfect, Miko. Yeah, you can message me on Instagram. Oh, you got it. As Azul11, it was 3. You got it. Make sure you send me an email, and I will send you the shirt. Let me write this over here. Frida, I think that's a CF, at omrec.net. Okay, perfect. So thank you guys so much for being here for this giveaway. I had posted a box over on my stories. See if you guys had any questions that you wanted to ask about like the software or really about anything. And Sam, you were the only one who replied, but you replied with 3 questions. So, I love you so much. You're so much like me. It's hilarious. Okay, so, let me go over here. I want to go to your chart. Okay. So that should be on the web screen. And so you can look at the charts. My charts. So we're going to go to Samantha's chart. So Samantha asked me for my views on stelliums, past lives, and node reversals. Okay. So, all right, I guess we can start with stelliums. I see that you do have, a nice little, this is your chart, right? Yeah, a nice little Scorpio stellium here. You got your Venus, your Jupiter, your North Node, your Pluto, and then you got a couple asteroids here as well. I look at stelliums as powerhouse placements of very focused energy. It's where a lot of planets pile up in the same sign, and they have the same sort of goal in mind. I think of it as like this powerhouse that has this same intention, really trying to hone and focus on this area, usually very karmically connected. Now for you, part of this stellium is your North Node, which is a very karmic point that revolves around our mission, our purpose, what it is we are meant to embody in this life. Now, this is in Scorpio, a very intense, passionate sign, rooted in the mysteries and self-transformation, and it's in the 7th house of relationships and marriages and partnerships and other people. And for you, this intense self-transformation is very much mirrored upon relationship dynamics and is strongly karmic in its manifestation in this incarnation because of this North Node. Now, we all have our North Node somewhere, and we all have our South Node somewhere. For those of you who do not know what the nodes are the intersection points from Earth's perspective of the orbits of the sun and the moon. And if we have a new moon or a full moon by one of these nodes, that is where we have eclipses. The South Node has a lot to do with our past incarnations, our past lives. Although I'm going to get here in a second as to why I don't even believe in the past, but we'll get there in a second. So the South Node has a lot to do with our past lives. It's all of the karma that we bring with us from the past, all of the lessons, all of the wisdom, all of the initiations. It very much feels like home. It's very easy for us to embody and live our South Node. For you, your South Node is in the house of the self, and it's conjunct Lilith. And so it has a lot to do with like the dark, shadowy parts of the self. It's very comfortable, very easy to be there. Now, the rigid, unmovable dark, repressed parts of the self because it's in Taurus, right? Now, your North Node is in Scorpio. This is where we take those parts of the self and we transform them, right? We shift from Scorpion to Eagle to Phoenix through this self-transformation, this death, rebirth, and transformation. You have Pluto there. You are part of the Pluto in Scorpio generation like me. We are intense, we are deep, and we are in the flame. We are born in the flames of transmutation. Jupiter is here. This is how you grow. This is how you expand. Venus is there, your planet of relationships. These are astrology's benefics. The planets that are meant to bring beneficial aid, growth, expansion, and you have them all here in your realm of relationships. And so while it's very easy for you to stay in the realm of the self, you are meant to embody the realm of relationships in this life. And we all have the North Node we're meant to embody, but for you, you have all these planets coming to sandwich around this North Node in order to help you do it, including two of astrology's benefics. Actually, astrology's only two benefics, although you guys know I think they're all the planets are beneficial. So this is a really nice stellium. It's a really nice stellium rooted in transformation, self-transformation ultimately triggered through the mirroring that transpires through relationship dynamics. And I know you and Spencer, you're seeing how those sort of charts lay out, and this could and he's a Scorpio, isn't he? Oh, I would love to know where his placement falls here. Yeah, that's super rad. Wasn't it just his birthday? Okay, I can look at the transits. So I know his sun is going to be very close by kind of like your Venus. Oh, and you're going through a Venus return right now too. And so you're starting a new Venus cycle, and you are starting a new chapter when it comes to your relationships and your values and whatnot. Okay. Stelliums, rad, all focused energy on a specific mission. It's like all of these planets are like, yeah, we're going to incarnate and we're all going to have the same sort of job, and we're going to focus very strongly on this. You also asked about past lives. So I'm not sure time is even real. I don't think time is real. I think that we focus a lot on past lives, and in this sort of like evolutionary type astrology that I do, I certainly focus on a lot of like the karma we incarnate that we need to work through, and we do have that on a certain level, right? But time is not real. And what we're really plugging into is past lives, future lives, and this sort of present where these are merging, right? The South Node has a lot to do with our past lives, and the North Node, it's believed to be, what it is we're meant to develop in this life. And I think that it does represent that, but I also think it represents all of our future lives. And that's why it's so hard to embody, because it's not just what we're supposed to do in this life, it's what we then do in the next one and the next one and next one as we evolve. And so it really resonates more so with a very more evolved aspect of us, and it's hard for us to take that on. We'd much rather stay in what's comfortable and what we've done before. So in this life, you very much are supposed to be focusing on these deep, intense, transformative relationships. Now, if you're looking for insight into past lives when it comes to astrology, the two places you're going to want to look would be the South Node and anything conjunct it. Asteroids, for instance, I have Atlantis conjunct mine. Kind of dead giveaway there as to a past life connection, right? For you got Lilith very close, and so you're working through a lot of these shadowy projections that came in with you. That revolve around our identity and our persona, because it's in the first house. Another place to look would be the 12th house, and any sort of planets that fall there. For you, this is that Aries placement where we were talking about earlier. You had Eris there. It's the only really fire planet you have. And so that's in your past life. And so this tells me that maybe you don't have a lot of fire in your chart in this incarnation, but you did in the past. perhaps too much so. Perhaps too much so that it manifested as chaos and discord. And that's why you're trying to work through it in this life in the feminine polarity of earth and water, right? So the 12th house is a place to look for insight into past lives, as is the South Node. Now, you asked me about your node reversal, okay? So what a node reversal is when the nodes are being transited by the opposite node. So as you can see, her South Node is currently being transited by the North Node, and her North Node is currently being transited by the South Node. It's the opposite of a nodal return. So we have a node reversal about every 7-ish years. I guess it's probably more than that. A node return is every 18 years. So when we have a node reversal come, this is where things are kind of turned on their head. Our first node reversal happens around the same time as our Saturn return, a little bit beforehand. You can see she has Saturn at 7 degrees of Pisces, and Saturn is currently at 18 degrees of Aquarius. So she's got a little ways to go before it gets to her Saturn. Before we reach our Saturn return, we have our node reversal. This is where things are kind of turned on their head. But they're turned on their head. I wrote here the spinning of the karmic wheel. So we've spun halfway around the cycle, and now we're on the other half. When we have a node reversal, this is where a lot of things break away in order for us to get into alignment with what it is we came here to do, right? The North Node focused here on the South Node means we are being asked right now to clean up a lot of this karmic debris that we brought in with us. We're being asked to work through a lot of blockages that are standing in, because the South Node makes us work through blockages. So you're being asked to work through a lot of blockages that are standing in the way from you developing your North Node, which you came here to do. This is where a lot of chaos transpires in the lives of people who are going on a wrong path, who are on a wrong trajectory. My node reversal and my Saturn return were a shit show because I was in deep into a whole bunch of toxic things, and I really needed a sort of ground zero to build upon, and so a lot of things did shatter around me. Now, node reversals are very fated, very destined, very karmic, and they're setting us on a new trajectory that will then help us to embody our North Node when we have our nodal return. So I see this kind of play out two different ways. Like if you read about a node reversal in from other astrologers or like blog posts or whatnot, it does speak of like a lot of like upheaval and shifting of trajectories, kind of like an eclipse to kind of set you on a fated course, what it is you came here to do. Now, those of us who are, doing the soul work, you're here at whatever time it is for you, so late, talking about your astrology chart, talking about your psyche, exploring these parts of yourself well before you had your Saturn return. I can tell you I was not. I was definitely on drugs around this time in my evolution. And so when my Saturn came around with those harsh soul lessons, like they were brutal, right? But Saturn is the great teacher. He's the Lord of Karma. He wants us to learn the lessons that help us to liberate ourselves. But they're hard and they're karmic and they're painful. And so many of us run from them. A nodal return is the same sort of thing. It wants us to address where we've been and where we're going. And it wants us to shift trajectories. And sometimes we're very ready for that. You have a lot of stuff in Scorpio, which is a fixed sign, which doesn't necessarily like to change, but it's the realm of transformation and change. Your North Node is there. And so the more you transform, the more you change, the more you let go, the more you're embodying your karmic soul purpose. So this node reversal is really setting you on course on what you came here to do. Now, yes, things may fall away, but the things that are falling away are so what is supposed to develop can develop. I just wrote notes in case I forgot to say things. Oh. No. I wrote here that we have our node reversal around the same time as we have our Saturn return, a little bit before. And it's so funny because when the nodes are hit, it's this energy that sits like beyond time, beyond space. Like we're plugged into the past, the future, the present, all at once. Like time doesn't even feel real, which is probably what you're really feeling right now, especially with Uranus here. Like time just probably does not feel real. But what's ironic is that Saturn then comes, and Saturn literally governs time. He literally governs the karma that we accrue over time. That doesn't even necessarily make sense because does time really exist? You know what I mean? How are we working through these karmic cycles yet sitting beyond time? Oh, my cats are crying at the door. Oh, I'm almost done, baby. I forgot what I was saying. Anyway, nodal return is coming to shift you on course when it comes to your fate, your destiny, and what it is you came here to do. They're fabulous, and they just completely shift our lives. Think about everybody that you've seen be in one state before the age of 30 and in another state after the age of 30, rooted in responsibility. Oh my God, I have to go get that cat. She's so sad. Oh, buddy. Come here. You crying? Okay, and he's going to climb all over here. No, you can't climb. All right, guys, I gotta go. The kitties are crying. Hopefully I answered your questions. I'm going to do more of these in the future where I dive deeper into like progressions and different charts and running all of the different charts that they have. Miko says, okay, people are saying a bunch of stuff. Okay, thank you for the giveaway. You're welcome. Oh my God, it's 1:11 in the morning where you are, William. Thank you for being here. Okay, you can stop crying. I'm almost done. Miko says, I'm in my second nodal return and my Saturn square. Big shifting when it comes to your personal authority. Miko says, is there a discount code for Luna through you? Yes, there's a direct link down below, my affiliate link, or you can use the code COSMIC, and that will get you 10% off for the first year, making it $4.50 a month or $32 a year. And like I said, I'm going to do more videos like this in the future on how to do things in that software, how to, and then I'm going to have a course in the future on how to pinpoint fixed stars and how to interpret them. So thank you guys so much. Have a good night, and I will see you the first week of November for both the live stream, the November live stream, and also the eclipse video over on Patreon. And of course, the link to join Patreon is down below as well. Thank you guys so much, and don't forget to email me if you won. All right, bye guys.